Yo, and here's another one. In having our discussion with my friend's grandmother, right? Totally different topic. Has nothing to do with light skin, dark skin. So we were talking about the type of men and women people seem to go for nowadays. Everybody seems to be making poor choices and picking the wrong partner and picking the wrong person. And, we explored, her past, and she, some of the men that she picked in her life were not what you would consider men who have all the qualities that women, seem to want, especially when they, hit mid-age, their 30s, they want the established and, can be a good provider, all that good stuff, right? Has some type of stability, okay? And she didn't pick those men. And, that kind of fucked my friend up because he was just like, damn, like, was my grandmother the same type of woman that, I have an issue with out here? Like, making poor choices, right? But here's what we noticed, right? Back in the day, right, she explained herself by saying that we didn't look for that when we were dating men. We didn't look for a good provider or any of those stuff. I mean, mildly you did, but you didn't really, look for, dig deep for those qualities because you just expected them. And I said, and I was sitting and I was like, thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? I can't even, say that she's wrong on that one because I, as a black man today, there's certain things that I expect, from a woman. I don't care if she's black or not. And she was saying she expected those things from a man. She expected, a man to lead. I mean, you're talking, it's like, it's like 1950. You know what I'm saying? Like, she expects a man to lead. You shouldn't have to really look for it. You just kind of expect it. Okay? And I was like, I expect, X, Y, and Z from women. I expect her to, cater, be loving and, kind of cater, kind of like be the mother that I grew up with. You know what I mean? My mom, she was a professional woman, but man, she was mom first, so, I just saw that. I saw women cooking and cleaning, and that's what I grew up seeing, okay? So I do have somewhat of an expectation of that. It's all, it has to do with a little bit of how you were raised, okay? And you have a lot of people who are fucked up because they are raised in single-parent homes where they don't see that interaction between mom and dad. They don't see mom doing, playing the traditional role because there's no traditional household. So what she was saying, I fully understood in the context of when she grew up. But, okay, here's the change. It's 2009, right? Even if you want to say a lot of men did not play the leadership roles, they fell off the bus, etc., etc., a lot of today's women do not expect black men to succeed. They expect us to fail, but yet they still expect to find what they don't expect. Does that make sense? Now, see, a lot of black men are on Daily Motion, I should say now, Daily Motion, not YouTube, because there's certain things that they expect from women that they've always expected. We've always expected a woman to, be feminine. We've expected a woman to not give us a whole bunch of bullshit and be attitudinal. However, there are those men who do expect that. There are those men out here who did grow up in unstable homes and their mom was a bitter woman and gave everybody attitude. So they expect that. I remember I got an email from a girl who said the man that she's with, he wouldn't act right until she was acting out of pocket. And she wrote me and she said that when she was acting crazy, that's the only time that she could get him to act normal. And she realized that when she was acting crazy, she was acting like her boyfriend's or her fiance's mother. And that really fucked her up. And she was asking me for advice. I forget what I told her, but so there are men who expect it. But I think that most black men, especially the ones that are the supposed black woman bashers, we don't expect that. I expect a woman to act the same way as my mother did, which is why when I come out here, I'm pissed and I'm frustrated and above all shocked when I don't fucking see that. When I see women throwing their bodies all over the place and disrespecting themselves, but then expecting some level of respect, throwing black men underneath the bus, claiming, we got them pregnant when I don't even have kids. I'm like, I ain't do shit to you. But one thing that we did understand was that the way that a lot of women are raised is somewhat of a safety net. A woman is taught to be strong and independent and all that other bullshit because they're taught that the men are not going to be there, that the men are going to fail, the men are going to walk out just like their fucking father did. Okay, and I'm not going to go into the, the mom shouldn't have picked that man and she should have been known. Oh, I understand. What I'm saying is I understand the premise of why these women are teaching their daughters to be that way. Here's the problem. The problem is when the women solely depend on that ideology or that philosophy and think that it's going to work in a relationship. You cannot think that your man is going to be a failure. You cannot think that your man is not going to be there, not going to be a provider, and prepare yourself for a relationship that's going to fall apart, but yet expect a relationship to succeed. I've said this before. You have a lot of women who are mentally and physically prepared to be single, but yet they want to be in a relationship, and they think that they can take the same attitude and the same mentality that they have being a strong, independent woman into a relationship with a partner. They can't. It does not go together. It's like water and oil. It just does not go together. So for the women of the past, I can understand. They just expected it. But for the women of today, what are you expecting? What are you expecting if you've been taught your whole life that the men aren't going to amount to shit? What are you expecting? I mean, shit, I understand hoping for the best, but what are you expecting? This shit is not going to fucking work. This just goes back to my video about complimenting each other. Y'all women are expecting the men to fail, they expect the men to walk out, they expect the men to leave you with the baby, you expect the man not to be a provider, but then you actually come across a man who does all the things that he should do, but yet a lot of you women are driving him away. What part of that don't y'all understand? If I have one word of advice for these women, I'll tell you. Stop listening to what men tell you and wait till they show you. That would be my advice to picking a man. Stop listening to the brothers who tell you what they're going to do and pay attention to the brothers who actually fucking do it. Second thing is open up. And open up after the man has shown you and not told you what he was going to do. Stop this bullshit of the men who actually show you. They don't just tell you, oh baby, I'm going to do this. Oh baby, we're going to get a house together. Oh baby. The men who actually fucking do it, give them a fucking break. Because as y'all women like to put, oh, there's such a fucking shortage of good black men, this, that, and the third. So when you actually fucking get one, don't drive his ass the fuck away. Because don't think that there's some skank ass bitch sitting on the sidelines waiting for your ass to drop the motherfucking ball. She's probably your supposed best friend. And back to my friend, what fucked him up about the whole conversation and going back to my previous video was the fact that he found out that his grandmother's whole identity of what she saw as feminine, or where she gained her femininity from, was from non-black women. And I'm bringing that up because for himself and for myself, that leaves us both with the question of, well then, why were we being brought up to be these traditional men? If the idea of femininity and traditionalism isn't followed by most black women. Why are we being brought up to be this way? How can a woman be brought up to be strong and independent and not act like a lady should act, and we're being brought up to be with women who are feminine, traditional women? It's almost as if all the black men who were raised properly were raised to be with non-black women. If that doesn't fuck your head up, I don't know what does. Because the women that I see being traditional feminine women are not black women. They weren't raised to be that way. So why aren't we being raised to be with strong, independent black women? Why are we being raised by black women to be with traditional feminine women when our own black women are not raised to be that way? Somebody please explain this to me. This is what I mean when I tell black women that the way that they think and the philosophies and the belief systems that they have do not work for black men today. Continuing down that route makes it almost impossible for y'all to be with us because we weren't raised to be with y'all. And then people want to actually sit there and stand up and wonder why so many of the quote unquote good brothers are out here with white girls. Answer: they were raised to be with fucking white girls. As sad as that may be, as sad as that may sound, that's the fucking truth. Because black women are not being raised to be feminine, traditional women, and black boys are being raised to be masculine, traditional men.